Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds in 3 years. If you'd like to join the family, hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure you click on that bell icon so you'll get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate in on the discussion, you can join me on these live streams that I do most weekdays, or outside of my live streams, you can consider joining the Discord that I've created. There's a link for that down in the description below. Also, if you're interested in getting some ideas of the meals and the food that we enjoy, we've created a link to a Pinterest board that has some of our family's favorite whole food, plant-based meals. Today is day 562 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. I've used a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet to lose over 210 pounds. I have a little over 17 months left to go. I'm looking forward to getting to my goal weight and maintaining a healthy weight for the rest of my life. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your guys' non-scale victories. If you are struggling to get started with a diet, or if you've fallen off the wagon and are struggling to get back onto your diet, let me know. What are you going to do to get back on your diet? How are you going to make getting on your diet or staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Today is Monday, May 16th, 2022. I am not getting my chat over here. What's going on? I see chat here, but I don't see chat there. So give me a second to mess with my screen. All right. Stand in Hope says congratulations. Thanks. Anthony says hello. And Aunt Day's Kitchen says hello. I hope you guys are having a great day today. This is going to be annoying to me that my chat is not where it normally is. So let me try to just cover all this up, and I'll have to read chat through that then. Today is Monday, May 16th, 2022. I'm going to switch over to the full picture here. I hope all you guys had a great weekend. I know I had a really awesome weekend. The weather was pretty cooperative this weekend. It wasn't perfect, but it was pretty good overall. I ate quite a bit of food this weekend. I'm going to kind of just run through what I ate throughout the weekend. It seemed like I had a lot of potatoes, and I'll talk about Saturday's food because I was in meetings all day, so I actually brought my own food. Let me pull this up. So this was dinner on Friday evening. This is just some potatoes with a sour cream sauce that Carrie makes mixed in. I really enjoy that sauce, and it's really good on the potatoes there. And then what else did we have? I also had I had a couple ears of corn Friday night. I love corn on the cob, so that was great to have. I do feel like I was tasting corn the rest of the weekend every time I burped, and the only time I can remember having a substantial amount of corn was on this dinner on Friday evening. I had a couple ears of corn. Saturday morning had our oatmeal. There's some seasoning on top of there that Carrie adds. I don't know the name of the seasoning, but we put that with our oatmeal a lot of times. And then there was onions and spinach. I don't think we had mushrooms at that point on Saturday. Then Saturday, I didn't take any photos of the food that I had Saturday, but I was in some meetings all day on Saturday that went from like 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. So we did have a lunch break, and I brought my own lunch, which was just 2 potatoes, plain, just ate them like an apple. kind of luckily, I guess, or didn't really matter, but everybody else left where we were to eat. So I was mostly eating by myself at the beginning of lunch. So I wasn't eating my potatoes in front of people, but it would have looked silly. It doesn't look silly to me anymore, but for somebody to just eat a potato like an apple is not something that you normally see. But I had a couple potatoes, had 3 oranges, and a 2 Lara bars. I had a cashew cookie Lara bar, which is probably my favorite flavor of Lara bar. Even it's the simplest of all of the flavors because it's just cashews and dates, I believe, and then an apple pie or apple something Lara bar. Carrie saying hello, Carrie. I hope everything's going great today at home. So Saturday, that is what I ended up having for lunch, was just some oranges, a couple Lara bars, and a couple baked potatoes. Let me see. This was dinner, I believe, on Saturday night. Yeah, this is Saturday night's dinner. I really love this meal. So it's called a dump and bake rosemary sweet potato casserole with tahini sauce. I really enjoy this meal. It's awesome. It's got rice. It's got garbanzo beans in there, sweet potatoes, that tahini sauce. Very sweet. Jane says the cherry pie Lara bars are great. Yes, I do like the cherry pie ones. I think it's the cherry pie I've had. I know I've had most of the pie ones. A couple of them put some extracts or have some different things in there. Stan and Hope says, sounds delicious. Now I'm craving oatmeal. Do you have a favorite way to have oatmeal? Yeah, with the oatmeal, I like oat groats, steel cut oats. I don't like rolled oats. And then I really like it with the spinach and onions and then mushrooms. We had that this morning with the mushrooms, and I really like it with the mushrooms in there. For the first probably the first year of this diet, actually more than the first year of the diet, our oatmeal of choice was a sweet oatmeal. And so we used apple juice as kind of the liquid, and then we would use apples and bananas in our oatmeal. And that's what we had for, like I said, the first year. And then after listening to Chef AJ's book, the Secrets to Ultimate Weight Loss, she talks about having vegetables for breakfast. And so we switched to having the spinach for breakfast, and I really enjoy the spinach. It's a toss up, because the sweetness of the other one is really nice, but I kind of worry that sweetness causes me to have cravings the rest of the day. And so that's, I think, part of the reason why she recommends having the vegetables for breakfast, is so you don't have that sweet craving the whole day. And then I did forget, Carrie, for the sweet oatmeal that we would eat with the apples, bananas, we would put almond butter in that, and that was very good, but much higher calorie than the spinach, onion, mushroom version that we have. And then Carrie, also says that she likes to add a little bit extra lemon to hers. I'll add it if it's there, but I don't necessarily need the lemon there as well. Stan and Hope says, I see what you mean about vegetables for breakfast. Sweet potato casserole sounds amazing as well. We'll have to pass the idea on to your husband. Yeah, this meal is awesome. I mean, the textures are great. The flavor's great. Just one of the meals that I really enjoy that we have for dinner. I think I ended up taking 2 photos. I think it was 2 photos of the same bowl. I probably did have seconds, but that was the same bowl there. And then Sunday morning, Carrie had made some pancakes made some waffles. I really like the waffles that she makes. A lot of times I just eat them warmed up. I don't put any syrup on there, but I decided on Sunday to put a little bit of date syrup on the waffle. I really like it with the date syrup. Sometimes we have it with maple syrup as well, but I do like it with the date syrup that I have here. And then for dinner on Sunday night, Carrie said that we had waffles because we had extra kids at our house. Yes. A lot of times our kids like to have sleepovers or sleep over at other kids' houses. And when we have kids staying at our house, we find that waffles are generally pretty well received by everybody, especially if you put a lot of syrup on them, or any amount of syrup on them, I guess, makes them really tasty, and they seem to like those. So that is why we had the waffles in the house. And so yeah, that I had Sunday. And then for dinner Sunday night, I ended up not taking a photo. Actually, the first photo is this. It does not look the most appealing, I guess, but this was a plant-based sloppy joe, and it has lentils in there and something else and walnuts. I can't think of the third ingredient. Carrie might chime in and tell me here, but this was really good. It was like a barbecue sauce, so whatever the seasoning was for that, I guess, would be one of the ingredients in there. But at first I was kind of hesitant. I didn't want to have it on bread, so I mixed it in with a couple baked potatoes, because why not have a dozen baked potatoes over the weekend? And I really liked it mixed in with the baked potatoes. I did also try it on a slice of Ezekiel bread. I took a bite of it. The waffles, if anybody is asking, are from the Engine 2 cookbook, Carrie says. This is just on Ezekiel bread. It's that same thing. Really liked it. The walnuts being kind of blended into that gave it a nice crunch or a nice texture to it. And I really enjoyed that the walnuts were in there. I don't know that they added to the flavor in any way, but it is... it's nice to have. Jacqueline Hill says, I can just imagine how proud your children are of your new energy and vitality levels. Yes, it is really great to be able to do more things with the kids. We had an event one night. It must have been Friday night that we went to a school event. And that's something that in the past I've kind of avoided going to those school events. And so we went to this event. It was like an open house thing where they had a thing where the kids could get their faces painted, and they had games, and they gave out these little prizes. And it was fun going to that and hanging out with the kids. Carrie says that there was more ingredients in this than I had said, but it was walnuts, mushrooms, onions, lentils, and then some other stuff, probably the flavoring, to give it that kind of barbecue flavor to it. But I really enjoyed it. It was good. Something that Carrie tried new. The kids, 50% of them liked it, 50% didn't. It's not the most appealing looking thing to have, but I enjoyed it. It was good for our meals. And then I think that's all of the food pictures I took this weekend. The only other things off the top of my head that I can think of is that we do have cashews in the house. So I did have a few handfuls of cashews throughout the weekend, and then oranges. I don't usually take photos of all the oranges I eat, but I do eat a lot of oranges. And I probably had a couple more Lara bars than what I talked about. Carrie says that she really liked the Sloppy Joes, and she'll be making them again for sure. Yes, they were really good. And then I did take a couple photos last night of the lunar eclipse, I guess. Nothing special here. They probably don't come out very well through here either, but anyways, that's just the last of the photos that were on my phone from the weekend. Let me hide this here. So eating wise, I had a lot of food this weekend. It was really good or satisfying to eat that much food and to it was lots of a variety of things, and it was all good. But definitely for me, the Sloppy Joe was good. The dump and bake rosemary sweet potato casserole was probably the favorite thing that I had this weekend, except for maybe those handfuls of cashews. Those are always good, right? So food wise, had a good amount of food, and it was it was a good weekend. I got in here this morning, hopped on the scale, and I was actually down from what I was weighing prior to the weekend, and I think I might even have been down from last year. Carrie says, dang cashews, yes. I don't mind it. I mean, if I was super concerned about the cashews, we wouldn't have them in our house. We kind of, the avocado, we've gotten away from the avocado. We used to have those in our house pretty regularly and would add them to a few of our meals, but now, just because I had stalled out on my weight loss there, and one of the things that we added to our diet, or I added to my diet at the time that my weight kind of started to plateau, was an avocado toast that was awesome, that I will probably eat again, but not till I get much closer to my goal weight. Stand and Hope says, everything sounded really good. Thanks for sharing. It's been really neat finding this channel. You've been bedbound for the past 18 months. Losing weight is helping. Yeah, I can't imagine being bedbound. So I hope that you're able to get up and get moving, losing some weight. It's, yeah, I mean, I was pretty sedentary, and I had a lot of difficulty doing things, but I'm sure that it's very difficult being stuck in your bed. So cashews are hard for us to keep around. LOL. So yummy. Yeah, I mean, it's they're really good. I don't know, and I'm sure that that they're probably a lot tougher to get in the wild than going to the grocery store too, which makes them even more of an issue. But yeah, food was good this weekend. Activity wise this weekend, I had that thing Friday night. So we were running around. I think it was Friday night. Yeah, it had to have been Friday night. We did that thing at the school. So kind of was walking around, moving around a decent bit Friday night. Saturday, I was, Aunt Day's Kitchen says that they cannot keep nuts around too much of a hand to mouth food. Yeah, that is definitely, yeah. I try to limit myself. I do a decent job, I feel like, limiting myself, and I'm conscious of it. Like I don't ever have the container of cashews next to me for the most part. If I get cashews, I take them, whatever I kind of fit in my hand, and I walk away from them so that I'm not just mindlessly eating them. Because I'm sure if I was watching TV and had a bag of cashews, I would eat them like a bag of popcorn. No problem. So Friday night, a little bit of activity, nothing too crazy. Saturday, I was in meetings like all day. So mostly just sitting, doing not much, but also able to avoid the food. That's one of my biggest difficulties on the weekend, is being at home and having access to that pantry all day long. I just kind of feel like I do go back and grab them. Jacqueline says that walnuts are your choice. Yes, walnuts are good too. And we had them in, when we have them in recipes, and that's a big reason why we keep the cashews around, is because there's a lot of sauces that we make that use cashews in them. And then the walnuts we use in recipes. Almonds we have around a lot of times as well, because Carrie makes our own almond milk a lot of times, and so we have the almonds for that, and then we have them in recipes. But if I don't have, I like almonds too. I wouldn't choose them over cashews, but I definitely eat a lot of almonds when I'm feeling like having a snack. So just be mindful of the nuts. It's tough, but at the end of the day, if that's the worst thing I eat, I mean, that's really, I can't be too hard on myself about that. Then Sunday, got up Sunday. I was ready to go Sunday morning. I have, I had 10 hours of yard work ahead of me, cutting the grass, mowing around the trees, weed whacking. I got a tree that fell down in our yard, all kinds of stuff to do Sunday. So I got up early Sunday morning, or normal, I guess, but early enough. And then got the push mower out, did a lot of trimming, some areas that needed to get push mowed. We got an area between like our garage, which is detached from our house, and our house that can't fit the riding mower in. So I got up and I mowed all of that, cleaned up some sticks and stuff from some trimming I had done a couple weeks ago that I hadn't cleaned up, and hopped on the riding mower and was mowing the grass. It takes a while to cut my yard. We have a fairly large yard and it's all on a hill. So I can't really do anything like at full speed on my lawnmower. And got to about 11:30 and I was getting rained on, little sprinkles for about a half hour. And I was just kind of powering through it because it wasn't like it was a hard rain. It wasn't enough to like cover the whole hood of the tractor with water. It was just kind of spots here and there. And then around 11:30 noon, we started to get a hard rain or a harder rain. And so it kind of just killed all my plans to get any more yard work done the second half of the day. So just kind of relaxed at the house, hung out with the kids, and Carrie had some running around to do on Sunday, so it gave her a chance to do that while I stayed in the house. Aunt Day's Kitchen says, burn from Chef AJ that you can replace all or half your cashews in a recipe with white beans. Oh, you learned. Okay, so you learned from Chef AJ that you can replace all or half of your cashews in a recipe with white beans. It's been working for you. Great. Okay. Yeah. That's something that we could consider doing. I don't know that we've had a lot of white beans around. Is that different than garbanzo beans? I think. And then Jacqueline says that you've never tried a cashew cream sauce. At least they are a whole food, even though they are very calorie dense. Do you have a favorite recipe, Carrie? Yes. She would be the one to ask, what her favorite cashew recipe is. There's just off the top of my head, I know that there's a cashew recipe we've used in a like with spaghetti noodles, like an Alfredo sauce replacement that is really good, but I'm sure it's very high in content, calorie density, and has a lot of cashews in it. So Sunday, like I said, I started off the day really going at it, getting a lot of work done. And then by the end of the day, just kind of lounging around the house, hanging out with the family. My son had done a Cub Scout or Boy Scout. So Carrie says she doesn't actually make a ton of sauces, but she does love the tzatziki sauce with cashews, dill, and cucumbers. Nutritional yeast, I don't think we use a lot of nutritional yeast. We've kind of avoided it somewhat. There are a few recipes I think that we have used nutritional yeast in, but I can't think of anything in particular that we use nutritional yeast for. Just not something we've had. My son was doing a Boy Scout trip. He went for 2 nights and a kind of a day and a half of camping. They drove out to the place Friday night, camped that night, and then did activities all day Saturday, and then woke up Sunday morning, had breakfast, and drove home. No, don't worry about it, Aunt Days. I know you use the text to speech, so it's fine. I was able to figure it out. So the big thing about the weekend for my son was that because we end up being kind of the most difficult people, I guess, because we eat this vegan diet, he ended up getting elected to be the head cook or in charge of the food for the weekend. So we had prepared them to have one of the mornings they had a pancake mix that they used the Bisquick mix, but then Carrie found an alternative way to make that mix that didn't use the egg or the milk. And then we had sent them some plant-based breakfast sausages. And so they had that for breakfast one day. And then the other day for breakfast, I think they just had bagels, which was really easy. And then for lunch on Saturday, Danny had just a plant-based lunch meat or a vegan lunch meat sandwich. We did buy some regular lunch meat for any of the kids that wanted to have regular lunch meat for lunch. And then for dinner, they made a spaghetti that we kind of get all the food, and then they reimburse us for the food. And then I already mentioned Sunday they had bagel for breakfast. So nobody complained and said that everything was awful. I think a lot of the kids actually liked the pancake recipe that Carrie had found using the box pancake mix. You just don't use egg, and it went over well. So we were kind of nervous that the kids weren't going to enjoy the food, and then they were going to get mad at Danny for bringing all this other stuff. Carrie says that we don't use a lot of nutritional yeast. She did try a million cheese sauces with it, but gave up on that endeavor. And then mac and cheese. Yeah, we don't really have mac and cheese. I don't have, one of the things that I guess, 18 months into this, but I don't really care about replacing any of the meals that I used to enjoy before. I mean, there is, we do like a pizza, but that pizza is completely different than like a real pizza. We use oatmeal as the crust, and it has vegetable toppings and a sauce, but there's no cheese flavoring on it. And I don't really care if I ever taste the flavor of cheese again, I guess. I know it's something that people like, that flavor, and I love the flavor. I think that, but I also know that I got to 520 pounds because I was eating dairy. Like more than anything else that I've gotten rid of, eating dairy products, I think, is, it's so high in fat, and calorie density is just ridiculous. And so I don't really, I guess we have had vegan cheeses for kind of that 6-month period where we were doing we were letting ourselves have a cheat meal, and I do enjoy them. I did enjoy them, but I don't need to have them. Carrie says that we make a roasted red pepper mac and cheese now, and then it might use a good amount of nutritional yeast. Actually, she says it's on her Pinterest board. Jacqueline says that cheese is your addiction. Yeah, that was something that when I started eating, when I fasted for that long period of time, and then we cut out all animal products. I never cared about the chicken, the meat, or the chicken, the beef, or the pork anymore. Like I really, that would, to me, was incredibly easy to give up. And a big part of that too is that I have really developed this distaste for salt in our diet. I think that we have far too much salt in our diet. And when I think about eating any meat products, I can't imagine not having some sort of salt on them. But the cheese, the dairy, that definitely is something that I had a harder time with it. Like, not that it was, I never, since November 1st of 2020, I have had zero animal products. Like, I haven't had any desire to have any animal products. That's one of the things that I kind of feel like that we made the decision one time to eliminate animal products, and then never had to wrestle with that decision again. Like, that is something that I am firm on not adding those things back in. But I also, in this whole process, have learned a lot more about dairy and how addictive dairy is. And it's actually made in nature to be addictive because it benefits the infant to become addicted to its mother's milk, because then it grows bigger and grows better if it's addicted to it. So there's actually chemicals in dairy that causes addiction. And, I realize that now, or I can see it now that I'm outside of that world. At the time, it was just part of my diet. And then, Carrie's asking Jacqueline if she has a plant-based favorite for her cheese. We don't eat the cheese much, but our kids enjoy chow on their sandwiches. Yeah, that is something that we have those in our house. The shredded cheese or the sliced cheese we get for our kids, and they seem to like it on their sandwiches. And so I don't want to, I guess I'm afraid, not afraid, because I don't know the best wording to use, I guess. I don't believe that it would be a slippery slope. Like, I don't ever see myself ever intentionally eating dairy again. But I don't need to hold on to that flavor. I get so many awesome flavors now from the different foods that we eat that I'm not necessarily tied to that. Carrie says that she thinks saying no to something once is huge. Yes. She still gets a coffee with oat milk or soda on occasion, and you feel like it's pulling at you constantly because you've not completely given it up. Yeah, that is something that we've wrestled with over the past 18 months. And for the first 9 months of this, for me, like, it was, it was easy to say no, and I always, if you ever played the card game Hearts, I always refer to it as like breaking hearts. So the way the game works is that when you start playing each hand, you can't play a heart until somebody else plays a heart. And then once they play a heart, then it seems like everybody just starts playing these cards. And I feel like eating this junk food or straying from your diet is like that when you're abstaining from it, when it's not allowed to happen in your diet, then it's easy to stay away from it. But the second you break hearts, or the second you allow yourself to have that little bit of salt or sugar or some sort of junk food in your diet, then it's really tough to go back and not find a justification for that. And they do talk a little bit about it in the Pleasure Trap book, but in reference to like a social situation. If you go to an event and you get peer pressured into eating something that you don't want to eat by a relative, then the next time you go to that social event, it's even more difficult for you to abstain or to tell that person no, because they already defeated you one time and got you to break. And so food is that way, in that, like if you allow yourself to break and have that food, it really makes it tough to abstain from it again, because a lot of times just having a one-off of it, just having it one day, you might not see a blip in the scale. You might not, or the blip in the scale might not happen for a few days. So you don't really tie that weight gain with the thing you ate 4 days earlier. And so you kind of convince yourself that it was okay last time, so it'll probably be okay this time. And then you get to a point like we were at the end of 2021 there, where every week we were kind of making an excuse to go and get a vegan pizza or try something that wasn't on our diet. Pretty Girl's mom says, hi folks, got here late today. No, thanks for coming and checking out the stream today. And then Stan and Hope says that they agree about the dairy for sure. Jacqueline was asking what chow was. Yeah, chow is just the brand of vegan cheese that we get for the kids. That's the slices. So, but if you have a recipe for a cheese with nutritional yeast, let us know too, because I imagine that's where you get most of your kind of your mac and cheese kind of is like using nutritional yeast. You get that cheese flavor from that. Let's see. I don't even know where I was at here. Let me just see if I can remember talking about that stuff. I did another interview today, which was kind of cool. Guy had reached out to me after seeing the Chef AJ interview and asked if I would talk to him and interview for his channel. So when that interview comes out, I will share it with you guys. It should be sometime at the end of the week. Stan Hope says that the best thing might be that you are doing this together. Your husband is eating the same way as you are now, but years ago he did not. Seems a bit rare for couples to make drastic changes at the same time. Yes. Well, yeah, me and Carrie for 15 years. I guess we've been together for almost 15 years now, but for our, let's just say our 13 years of marriage, we've always been on a different page. It has always been, I'm doing something, then she does something, or she's doing something and then I'm doing something, and we lose the momentum. The way I remember, kind of the most recent one was like in 2013 when I was going to a doctor and I was taking a prescription, and I started losing weight. And so I got to a point where I was down like 70 or 80 pounds. I was 6 months into doing this and I was eating super low calorie. So my diet was really easy. Carrie didn't have to do really anything for my diet. I would buy Pringles and Kit Kats on my way home from work, and then I would just throw a kielbasa in the microwave. And that was pretty much my diet for the entire time I was taking that appetite suppressant. And Carrie was just eating her normal diet at the time. So I was losing weight, but then she was staying the same weight or possibly gaining weight. And then after about 6 months, she got in touch with the doctor and started seeing the same doctor I did. And then she started losing weight. But then at that same time, I was getting weaned off, or really, I was pulled off the medication kind of quickly, I guess, in hindsight, looking at it. And so then my diet went from this super low calorie, super restrictive diet back to wanting to eat all this junk food again. So we did not ever be on the same page, like at all. And I think that, there's probably a lot of things that got us on the same page this time, but a big part of it is that I was in really bad shape. I mean, I wouldn't admit it at the time, I'm sure, but being 520 pounds, I was probably, I was so close to a heart attack or a stroke or any type of major medical complication that could have been devastating for us. And Carrie really, knew that for my health that we needed to make some changes. And so really when I was fasting, whatever I came home and said that I think we should do, I think Carrie would have done. Like if I wouldn't have gone down this whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free path, Carrie would have been on board, just because she knew how important me eating this way was for my survival. And then as an added benefit, she loses weight by eating this food too, because we've tried a lot of different diets in the past. And she was actually, before I started doing this, she was doing 75 hard, kind of leading up right into this and trying to figure out that program. And she always was much more active going to the gym, doing personal trainer kind of stuff than I ever have been. And definitely worked a lot harder at it than I do over the years. Aunt Day's Kitchen says, if you like some spice in your nacho cheese, your favorite is the nutmeg notebook. Tammy did a good job on a nacho cheese. Okay. There was, Carrie made a queso. There's a company that makes a queso that is pretty good, but it has salt or oil in it. And then Carrie made kind of a salt, oil, sugar-free version of that. And then we took some tortillas and baked them to make our own chips, and they were really good. Carrie says, yeah, if you guys have any awesome recipes, please share them. A great place to share them would be on the Discord. She's always looking for new recipes to try. And then she says she did not want to lose me, so it was an easy choice. Jacqueline says, now we're the dynamic duo. There you go. Being on the same page, it's so crazy how I imagine common it is that you're not, and it's frustrating when you're the one on the diet, because it makes it difficult to stay on your diet. And then, it just always seemed like, one of us was lagging behind the other, or, back in 2009, we did work out together some, and I don't know what happened, why I quit working out. I can't remember now, but, I lost the momentum on my end, but Carrie kept working out, and then, I had my own debit card. So no matter how healthy a food that Carrie was making at home, I was sabotaging that throughout the day. I would get fast food for breakfast. I'd get fast food for lunch. If she was making something that was relatively healthy for dinner, then chances are that I stopped at the gas station on the way home and picked up some hot sandwiches off of their rack that they had their food on, their chicken sandwiches and their hamburgers and their cheeseburgers and their egg rolls and stuff like that. Stan and Hope says, very cool story, cheering for you guys. Thanks. I really appreciate all the support that I've been getting. My channel has grown a ton in the past week because of that interview with Chef AJ. So that's been amazing. And I just hope that it keeps growing and I reach people, and it's really awesome that a lot of you guys that are coming on here are eating this way too. A lot of the, this diet is so great. Like, I know 0 people other than my wife in real life that eat this diet. Like, there's nobody. The closest that, anybody has come is there is a dad that is one of my son's friend's father, and he ate a whole food, plant-based, no oil diet to lose a bunch of weight, but he doesn't like stick to that all the time. Like, I think he's had animal products and he'll eat, as far as I know, he's not still on that diet, but he did use a whole food, plant-based diet to lose a bunch of weight. And so it's lonely eating this way. Like, I have some really good friends of mine that we have gone out to eat a couple times, and they look at us sideways because we're ordering off of the sides menu. We're like, okay, I want to get a baked potato. I want to get asparagus. I see you have asparagus on this meal here. Can I just get a side of asparagus? We brought our own salad dressing to put on the baked potato. You just don't really find any restaurants that you can go out to. And then if you do find a restaurant to go out to, they are like, you want to go to the vegan restaurant? Like, I would like somewhere that I could get a cheeseburger, So it is difficult. have we ever tried the Well Your World salt-free sauces? Yes, we have ordered a few of those sauces early on when we started this. The interesting thing about this diet, I actually talked about it a little bit in my interview, but there's nothing chemical in anything that we eat now. And so there's not really anything proprietary. So the Well Your World sauces that they make, if they are just the ingredients that are listed, then you could make any of those sauces at home if you can figure out the ratios. And so a lot of our sauces, we did buy like their ketchup, and I'm trying to think, there was a few things that we were really interested in. They have like dry powders too that I can't remember. We bought a few things for Well Your World, but at the end of the day, it is not real difficult, especially now that we have a high-speed blender, to just figure out a recipe that works for us and then just make it ourselves. And I really like the idea of scratch cooking. I think that there has been the allowing companies, and not specifically, not really Well Your World, but like the big food companies, allowing them to make your food takes you out of that equation. You don't know what they're using. Like, I never really thought about it. They talk about it in one of the books about how they made instant pudding. In order to make instant pudding, they had to put a non-food chemical in there that causes a reaction between the different foods, the items they put in there, that like dehydrates the food, or it causes that instant pudding reaction to happen. And so they did that to make their product more marketable, to increase their market share in the pudding world. And it had nothing to do with your overall health. It had nothing to do with producing a healthy food for you. And so these companies that make these meals ready to eat, or make it microwave, or make it something, without having to do a lot of work, they've done themselves favors, because we all love convenience. That we give up so much in our lives for convenience. And now, because we're doing more of the scratch cooking, we don't get all of that convenience, but we've regained our health because of it. Carrie says, yeah, a friend wants to get together tonight, and she's now suggesting that you go for a walk instead of going to have drinks and appetizers somewhere like you used to. Aunt Day's Kitchen says, the easiest place that you found to eat out and stay on plan is Who Hot Mongolian Grill. But any Mongolian grill place is going to be easy for your friends to get the meat, and you can have veggies. Okay, yeah, that there is a Who Hot, or there used to be a Who Hot Mongolian Grill near us that we've been to a few times, that eating piles and piles of food, because it's kind of like a buffet. Stand in Hope says that that's the same thing that her husband says. Can't we just make the sauces at home? So we have not tried them yet. Completely agree. Restaurants are in the business to make the food taste the best, not make you weigh less. Yes, and it's not necessarily it's not nefarious. They don't necessarily, they want you to choose to go to their restaurant over a competitor's restaurant. So they have to do things that make their food taste better. And there's so many examples throughout the history of the food industry. And if you're looking for a book that talks about it, Michael Moss wrote a book called Salt, Sugar, Fat. And it really talks in depth about this. And it's crazy because, like, as he's talking about these different products that came out, like from the 80s, I'm sitting here going, well, I remember when that came out. I remember when that came out. I remember when these came out. And they can draw a line in the sand. A lot of companies have drawn lines in the sand and said, we're not going to go past this point. You cannot produce the food past this point. And then a competitor comes up and says, Yeah, our line's a little bit further down the road. So instead of 12 grams of sugar, we're putting 14 grams of sugar in our product. And then people respond by buying the product that has the more sugar because it has a better taste to the palate. So then the original company looks at their market share and sees that it's going down and says, why is our market share going down? The product engineers come back and say, it's because you told us we couldn't put more than 12 grams of sugar in the product. If you allow us to put more than 12 grams of sugar, then we'll get that market share back. So then the executives say, well, yeah, you have to, especially if it's a publicly traded company, because once you make a decision, once you find out that a decision to add the sugar will increase your shares price, they are obligated to make that decision, because if they make a decision that causes their stock price to not increase, they can get removed. They'll get fired because they're not acting in the best interest of the shareholders. So these food manufacturers are never acting in the best interest of their customers. They're always acting in the best interest of their shareholders because they want to keep their jobs, and they can get sued if they make a decision that harms that publicly traded company's market, or the market value. And so it's an awful system that we're in, but it is the system that we have to live in. Pretty Girl's mom says, Dr. Goldhamer likes going to a steakhouse for a meal. You can get a salad, baked or sweet potato, and steamed vegetables. Yes, you can go out to eat. You can get food that is whole food, plant-based. The only downside to the baked potato is a lot of times they just make a big tray of baked potatoes and they put salt on them. So if you get a chance to call ahead and ask them if they can prepare one without salt because you're going to be there later, or just kind of avoid eating the skin, is what I've done in the past, is kind of open it up and just eat the potato part and not eat the skin. And I feel like there's not a lot of salt contamination if you do that. But it's absolutely possible to go out and eat. And it's so cheap, as long as you don't buy the salad and then have them take the things off. We went up to a water park at the beginning of January last year, and me and Carrie got like this Asian salad that they had. And we said, okay, we're going to get this Asian salad. We don't want any of that meat. We don't want the sauce. And there was a couple other things maybe, but there was a few things that we removed from the salad. And so they're like, yeah, we can do that. You can do that. And so then we get our salad, and it's really just this huge bowl, or a decent sized bowl of mixed lettuce with nothing else in it. And we ended up putting our own dressing on it. We brought our own dressing, and we got charged $13 for this salad. And it's like, that was like $1.50 or $2 worth of ingredients, and you're charging us $13. So what I have found is just ordering off the sides menu, ordering the fruit cup, ordering the baked potato, ordering the green beans, ordering the we had asparagus one time that we just asked them not to salt the asparagus, is so much cheaper. You know, I don't know what restaurant prices are now, but they were like the example where we went out to eat with my friend and his fiance. Me and Carrie ordered 3 items off of the sides menu, and our bill was $15 a piece. So our meals combined was $30. My friend, his meal alone was like $27, plus he had a drink, you know? And so it can be a lot cheaper, and you just have to plan it, you know? Like, that's something that you don't get to just walk in and buy things off the menu. I mean, it's really funny. I'm just coming up with an analogy in my head about how I used to not be able to walk into a department store and buy off the rack. And now I'm getting to the point where I can go to a department store and just buy off the rack. I don't have to go to a specialty store or go to a big and tall place to get my clothing. I can just go to JCPenney's and grab normal clothes, or the clothes that's on the rack. But when I go to a restaurant, I got to go to specialty restaurants, or I got to order specialty, foods a little bit different than. So buying clothes is easier. Buying food out is more difficult, as weird as that is. Jacqueline says, right, their opinion is of no value because of social media. Some people feel that they can make judgment calls on other lives with no consequences. Yes. And then LB is vegan for 16 years, 23 hours a day. I'm not sure what that means. And then, if Carrie says that if you are going out to eat, that the Purple Cow app is really helpful. And we've used that a lot when we've traveled down to like St. Louis, where her family's from, and just kind of trying to find things when we're out with the kids for them to eat, having that app available and being able to find restaurants that are either vegan or cater towards vegans or have options for them has been extremely helpful with the going out to eat. Let's see. I went pretty long today. I am going to get out of here today. I will be back live tomorrow. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, get subscribed to the channel. Click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live. Hit that thumbs up. All that stuff helps the YouTube algorithms. I'm over 900 subscribers, so I'm getting pretty close to that 1,000 mark. I'm looking forward to hitting that kind of mini milestone. It's been one that I have been pushing towards this whole time. So if you haven't subscribed, please get subscribed. And if you haven't started your diet yet, get started right now. There's nothing coming up that is more important than your health and your overall well-being. Nobody ever goes on a diet, gets to their goal weight, looks back and says, man, I wish I would have waited. If only I would have had that birthday cake that weekend, I'd be so much happier. Nobody ever says that. Everybody always looks back and says, I wish I would have started sooner. If I'd have known how good I feel now, I would have done this years ago. And I'm the same way. I wish I would have started weeks earlier. I wish I would have started 6 months earlier. The first time I saw that I was over 500 pounds, I wish that would have been the wake-up call that it should have been, but it wasn't. Carrie says that tonight we're having mega veggie chili. It's one of our staples. I'm looking forward to having that tonight. The other thing is, don't fall for the 2 myths of moderation. The myth of moderate change, the idea that you can slowly, moderately change your diet over a long period of time, and then your health will change along with your diet. Just go all in. Make the decision one time and get rid of the junk food. Clean the pantry out. Replace it with healthy, whole foods, and make the choice one time. Don't drag it out. So many times people try to just do it with one foot in the junk food door and one foot in the health food door, and the junk food always wins. It's been scientifically engineered to be addictive, to hit those cravings that you have. So don't fall for the myth of moderate change. Also, don't fall for the myth of moderate consumption. The idea that a little bit of something unhealthy is okay, or the idea that you can eat less food, that you can have half portions of your favorite food items that are high calorie density foods, is a myth. You can do it for a period of time, but in the long run, your body will fight you, and eventually you will lose that fight and you will go back to those old habits. So make the changes, make them permanent. Don't fall for the myths. Pretty Girl's Mom, thank you. Stand in Hope. Yes, Mega Veggie Chili is awesome. You're not vegan, but the results of whole food, plant-based, SOS free are undeniable. Absolutely. Thanks for the great encouragement. Yes, guys, get started, get going, stay motivated, stay on your diets. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. You all have a great evening.